What is going on, Jerome's? Happy hump day evening. The Minnesota Vikings are back at TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill today for their first full team practice, and it's the most wonderful time of the year. Hot as hell, but the Vikings did have a truncated practice. They got things done, and we're back, baby. We are so back. So here are 10 takeaways from the Vikings' first team practice. Number one, no Daniil, JJ, and I should say Hawkinson. Nailed it. Present. So Daniil Hunter staging his hold in. He did report to training camp. He is involved in the team meetings, but practice, non-participant. And this is the opposite of a hold out where he can get fined. But Daniil, Seifert pointed out like there was some thought that maybe Daniil would come out and observe practice, but no call, no show. No big deal. I do think that something's going to get worked out. And between Daniil, Justin Jefferson, and TJ Hawkinson, the three players right now who are most close to a extension or a new deal, I do think Daniil gets done first. Number one, he's the highest immediate priority. Obviously, JJ is the highest priority, but in terms of a player who is holding out or holding in, let me begin. Daniil's the only one not practicing because JJ and Hawkinson are out there on the practice field. So take care of Daniil. Also, his agent and the team probably had the most negotiations over the offseason, as well as Daniil is, especially if it's a one-year deal or reimagining of his 2023 contract, probably going to have the least amount of guaranteed money. Well, obviously with JJ, but also probably Hawkinson as well. Hawkinson and Jefferson, both doing the damn thing, which is good to see. Also, Jefferson expanded, because he said at mandatory minicamp, even though he skipped all OTAs, that he wasn't going to sit out of training camp absent a new deal, and he reiterated today that he is focused on the season, and the contract will basically take care of itself. And Hawkinson, I think, has the same attitude about things. Next up, number 2. Jalen Nailor is wide receiver 3. So even though Jordan Addison, first round pick, he's back. It was a full participant. We'll get to him in a second. He was sort of behind the 8 ball because he got dinged up at rookie minicamp. A minor injury, is going to be good to go, but missed OTAs and missed mandatory minicamp. And Jalen Speedy Nailor, especially when it says JJ missed all OTAs, Jalen Nailor looked really good. Last year's day 3 selection out of Michigan State, sort of got the time of day towards the end of the year, played some great special teams as well. But, I think the Vikings may have found something in Jalen Nailor. And yes, the Michigan State connection with he and Kirky, but you love the straight line speed. Yes, he's actually faster on the field than his testing speed, so throw out that 40. But I think that he has a chance. Don't want to say Stephon Diggs, who was a 5th-round pick back in the day, but a day 3 pick who you develop in-house and gets going once it gets an opportunity. It's possible, man. It's possible. All this talk has been about Addison and KJ duking out for wide receiver 2. What about Jalen Nailor and Addison duking out for wide receiver 3? Although Addison did get his as well, as he was a full participant today. No hitch in his giddy-up from whatever the minor injury was. And also, the Vikings socials did put out a great clip of Kirk dropping a dime. Absolute smoke show right across the middle. Addison, great concentration through double coverage and pulling one in. I can see that a lot. I think you will. Where, Addison, speed bump, pun intended, with the whole speeding thing. I do think that he is going to put that behind him. I think he'll use it as a little bit of motivation, a little bit of chip on the shoulder. Some fans are doubting him, but I think that he is going to come in. And also, I actually do think that the competition with Osborne and Nailor and Addison is going to help all three of them become the best versions of themselves this year. Next up, number 4, Kirk goes dialed in. So from the accounts, Kirk was dropping some dimes. A couple video clips emerged, and Kirk, the star of Netflix docuseries quarterback. This is a big year for Kirk because remember, it's a contract year. Kirk Cousins could get paid. Right now, Kirk, after the Herbert deal, is the 14th highest paid quarterback in the league. So blah, 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 blah about Kirk taking up too much of the cap. But Kirk Cousins played the best ball of his career last year. He's the talisman and operator of the offense this year. And I think that Kirk could be set up with the continuity, with the weapons that he has, hopefully with a better offensive line. I think that he could have the best season of his career and could be flirting with some MVP love, man. Next up, number 5. Right now, Kincaid is RB2. Now, part of that, I'm sure, is just giving the nod to the veteran, as Kincaid on the roster is the second elder statesman behind starter Alexander Madison. I'm sure Ty Chandler and Dwayne McBride will get theirs as well. But as what usually happens at the start of training camp, veterans get the slight nod there. But, I mean, Kincaid, he is the best kick returner in the National Football League. He is a physical freak. Hasn't really gotten it together with the Vikings or in Ames in terms of being a running back, but who knows? Maybe he'll finally click this year. Next up, number 6. Khyiris Tonga starting. So again, this may be a little bit more of a wink, nod, nudge to the veterans. Although Tonga's in year 3, so he's not like a veteran. But the Vikings defensive line is going to be multiple up front. I think they're going to use a lot of personnel. Dean Lowry worked in there with the ones. Harrison Phillips was out there without a hitch in his giddy up, which is great too. But Khyiris Tonga was in there with the ones, and Tonga. Like Tonga and Kelvin Avery are really the only true zero tech nose tackles on the roster, and I think Tonga getting involved on early rundowns I think is going to be really important. Also, that frees up Harrison Phillips to do more Harrison Phillips type things, and I think that could be the key to solidifying the Vikings defense against the run, which obviously is going to be priority number 1 for Brian Flores besides blitzing every single play, man. Next up, Vikings first practice takeaway number 7. Joejuan Williams with the ones. Now, what's interesting is that during mandatory minicamp, it was rookie Mekhi Blackmon working in with the ones quite a bit. But to start off training camp, which again, it might just be giving a nod to more of the veterans. Joejuan Williams, the former second-round pick out of Vanderbilt, originally was with the New England Patriots. He and Caleb Evans were on the outside, round the outside, in sub-package, and Byron Murphy was working in the slot, which I think probably is going to be the case moving forward. Murphy, when they have 2 corners in base, he'll be on the outside, but kick inside in nickel or other sub-packages. But, I mean, Joejuan Williams is interesting, man, because he's got size. He's 6'3", he's 210 plus, and he brings a little something to the different to the table than the rest of the guys. He is super physical. Maybe doesn't have the physical attributes in terms of speed and agility as some of the other guys, but certainly a name to watch, and certainly a name that's already made an impression on Flores and company to start this training camp. Next up, takeaway number 8. Ivan Pace Jr. is already with the 2s. So right now, the off-ball linebackers for the Vikings put it in stone. Brian Oswald, Jordan Hicks. That would be a funny buddy cop duo, because Oswald, the young guy, Jordan Hicks, the grizzled veteran. I don't know, man. But Troy Dye and Ivan Pace Jr. were the second-team linebackers to start training camp, and it's really. It is really eye-opening, and it's something that's really interesting that Pace Jr., the first practice, is already working with the 2s, and that's probably a good sign for him moving forward about potentially making the 53 and then eventually making an impact as a potential starter down the line. Because, I mean, Asama and Pace Jr. together after this year, I mean, that I like it. I like it a lot, man. Next up, takeaway number 9. So even though Brian O'Neill didn't start on the pup, he's out there watching. And Oli Udoh is in starting at right tackle. Now, here's the thing. Oli Udoh was bad at guard. Oli Udoh was bad at left tackle. Oli Udoh is a perfectly capable right tackle, because when he filled in for O'Neill at the end of last year, he did quite well. I mean, people don't want to talk about that because of how Udoh played guard in 2021, but Oli Udoh is a very solid and capable backup right tackle. There's a reason why they sent him a decent chunk of change in free agency, and it's because of probably muscle memory and just familiarity and comfort with the position. Oli Udoh played only right tackle at Elan, so trying to move him all over the place doesn't make any sense, and the Vikings are going to take it very slow with Brian O'Neill. Kevin O'Connell said that they already have a plan in place, that he's going to be good to go, because nothing would be worse for toss him out here and to go 100% before he's ready to go. Get him ready for week 1. That's when the games actually matter. Yes, it was a partial tear of the Achilles, not a full tear, but still had surgery. So hopefully Brian O'Neill progresses nicely and doesn't have a relapse or a backslide and is good to go for week 1 against the Buccaneers. And then lastly, takeaway number 10. after practice work. So Hawkinson and most of the receivers were after practice with the quarterbacks with the jugs machines putting in some extra work. Obviously, I mean, the media was there, so I mean, that's part of it too. But I think these guys are truly hungry for greatness, man. And Hawkinson was there, JJ was there working with Tristan Jackson and KJ Osborne. Addison was getting in some extra work too. So it's something that you do love to see. And these guys. I mean, these guys are hungry, and this is the culture where, yeah, he did lop off a lot of veteran leadership from last season, but these young guys, it's their turn, and they're young, they're hungry, they want to get after it, they love their coach, both of them, Flores and Kevin O'Connell, and I think that this has a chance to be a very special season. Everything is lined up, so what could go wrong? Being a Vikings fan, man. But that's it. That's 10 takeaways from the Vikings' first full team practice on Wednesday. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Once we put the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.